3 days ago, you said something. The person in front of you nodded and moved on, but you are still there. You rewind, frame by frame. You check the tone. You check the word choice. You check your face, eisato. Most people call this anxiety. Some brains do not process the social moment live. They process it later. When the event ends, the analysis begins. In psychology, this has a name: post-event processing. This is not a disorder. It is a different system setting. Your brain's risk scan runs at higher resolution than average. Today, I will show you 7 patterns this system creates. Each one will feel familiar. And when you reach the 7th, you will understand why the replay does not stop.
And why forcing it to be silent sometimes creates more mistakes.
If you are ready now, write loop in the comments and let's start. First pattern, the loop. Your brain does not store conversations like most brains do. Most people close the file and move on. The memory is coded, attention is released. Your brain keeps the file open. This happens because the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex keep an extended review cycle on emotionally important social data. The brain did not mark the event as solved, so it keeps processing. Imagine this: Tuesday, 2:17 p.m. The meeting just ended. Others already went back to their desks. You walk in the hallway with coffee in your hand, but you are not in the hallway. You are in the meeting room. You analyze the exact moment the manager's tone changed. Was it something you said? The word you chose? The pause before you answered? Your brain runs frame-by-frame analysis. Your feet move on autopilot. No one notices. They think you are just quiet. You are running diagnostics. This is not rumination. This is threat mapping against missing data. Your brain did not receive a clean signal, so it keeps scanning, not weakness, an unfinished protocol. Second pattern, editing. You do not only replay what happened, you run alternative versions. What you should have said, what you could have said, what would be received better. Psychologists call this counterfactual thinking. In high processors, this runs without choice, not because you are insecure, because your brain builds a better model for next time. You are not stuck in the past. You are building a better future model. This is not a flaw. It is an upgrade most brains never run. But this is only the surface, because the loop and the editing are not the real pattern. They are symptoms of something deeper. Pay attention here. Third pattern, the silence you cannot explain. There was a moment in that conversation when you went quiet, not because you had nothing to say, because you had too much. The anterior cingulate cortex in your brain, the conflict detection area, flagged an inconsistency. What they said did not match what their body showed, or what they said did not match what you knew about them. Your brain paused to process the mismatch. They read it as shyness. You were running a consistency check. Think about this moment. Dinner table, 8:45 p.m. Someone in front of you explains how they solved a problem at work. Confident, lively, leaning forward. But something is off. Their hands stay flat on the table. Their voice is a bit higher than normal. You notice it, the micro inconsistency. You go quiet. They ask, "Are you okay?" You say, "Yes, I'm just thinking." What you are really doing, comparing everything they said in the last 6 months. This is not social anxiety. This is pattern recognition running in the background. You are not uncomfortable. You are precise. Fourth pattern, energy accounting. After some conversations, you do not just feel tired. You feel drained in a specific way, like something was taken, like you spent something you did not have. That is correct. Neuroscience confirms this. High social processors use more glucose and cortisol in interpersonal interaction than low processors. Your brain does more work. It literally uses more resources. This exhaustion is not emotional weakness. It is metabolic cost. And here's the part most people miss. You cannot push through this with willpower, because this is not a mindset issue. This is hardware resource allocation. You are running more processes at the same time. Always, this is not something to fix. This is something to account for. In a crowded place, after how many minutes does your social battery end? 15, 30, 60? Write it in the comments. Now it gets interesting. Because everything I explained so far, the loop, the editing, the silence, the exhaustion, we are now going to the root of all of them. And the fifth pattern is where that root becomes visible. Fifth pattern, the threat you cannot name. You replay the conversation because one part of your brain detected a threat and it never reached resolution. The amygdala does not separate physical and social threat. Being misunderstood, being misread, or your words not creating the effect you wanted, these activate the same survival circuit as physical danger. Your brain is doing what it is supposed to do. It keeps the case open until a verdict is reached. That is why the loop does not stop. Not because you are anxious, because your threat detection system is waiting for data that may never come. This is not a nerve disorder. This is an open loop in a system designed to protect you. The system is working exactly as it was built to work. And here is the hardest part. The threat does not have to be real. The other person may not be angry with you. The conversation may have gone well, but your brain keeps the file open anywhere it sees insufficient data, until it receives a clear signal, until it gets confirmation, until there is a definite sign that the threat has passed. And in the social world, that signal often never comes, because people are not clear. They are ambiguous, inconsistent. Your brain knows this, so it does not stop scanning. This is not a mistake. This is the natural response of a system that takes uncertainty seriously. Sixth pattern, the invisible rulebook. Most people operate on implicit social scripts. They follow unwritten rules without ever questioning them. You cannot do that. Your brain reads the rules behind the rules. You notice the moment someone performs warmth instead of feeling it. You sense when a social norm shifts before anyone else accepts it. You feel the tension in the room before the argument starts. This makes conversations heavier for you because you do not only analyze the conversation, but the meta-conversation too. The power dynamics, the emotional subtext, the things no one says. You are not overthinking. You are running a deeper scan. In a world designed for surface processing, this creates extra cost, but it also gives you this. You rarely miss what really matters. When you enter a room, most people look at faces. You look at energy. Who is tense? Who is performing? Who is really listening? Who is waiting for their turn? You do not choose to do this. The system runs automatically, in the background, constant, involuntary, and this makes you tired because you cannot switch it off. Even when you want to silence it, it keeps running. But notice this. This exhaustion is not the price of blindness. It is the price of seeing, and seeing is always more valuable than not seeing. Seventh pattern, the signal under the noise. Here is what all 6 patterns point to. Your brain is not designed to be efficient. It is designed to be accurate. And social accuracy, reading people, detecting inconsistency, predicting behavior, is one of the most complex cognitive tasks that exist. Most people run a fast, low-resolution scan. You run a slow, high-resolution diagnostic. That is why you replay. Not because something went wrong, because your system is doing exactly what it is built to do. It maps, it verifies, it stores high-quality data for next time. The price, exhaustion, and a brain you do not know how to silence. The reward, a level of social intelligence most people never develop. None of these patterns exist alone. All of them are outputs of one core mechanism, a nervous system calibrated for depth, not speed. Most people process a conversation and move on. You process it until it is resolved, until the data is complete, until the threat is classified, until the model is updated. This is not rumination. This is not anxiety. This is not a disorder. This is a different operating system, one that chooses precision over efficiency. And in a world where most people run on autopilot, you are the one who sees what is really happening. This is not damage. This is rare architecture. If you noticed yourself in these patterns, loops, edits, silence, exhaustion, you are not broken. Your brain is not failing. It is doing more than most brains do, at a price most people never pay, because most people never go that deep. The world will tell you to stop overthinking, to stop, to move on, to be normal. But normal means being blind. You see the operating system. Most people only see the interface. This is your advantage, and know this. People who carry these patterns rarely feel smart. Most of the time, they feel the opposite. Like they think too much, feel too much, notice too much. But awareness can never be too much. It can only be expensive. You are paying that price every day, in every talk, in every replay. Most people leave a talk and do not even notice what they feel. When you leave, you analyze, you classify, you store. It looks like it slows you down. In reality, it makes you someone who processes deeper. In a surface world, depth can feel like a handicap, but it is not a handicap. It is a frequency difference. Most people broadcast on AM radio. You receive FM. The signal is different, richer, noisier, but more real. People who tell you you are too sensitive are wrong. You are not sensitive. Your calibration is different. This is a system tuned not for threat detection, but for meaning detection. While others pass by, you stop. Sometimes you cannot even explain why you stop. But something inside you flags it, that something is wrong, that something is missing, that something was not said. And most of the time, you are right. This is not random. This is the output of social data processing built up over years, not a feeling, a calculation. This is not a burden. This is a data set most people do not have. Use it. If pattern 3 stopped you, leave a loop emoji. Which was heavier, the threat you cannot name or the invisible rulebook?